I was a support worker, fresh out of university, having studied business and having worked in several sales roles, and thought, you know what, if my employer can be a care provider, I could definitely do a better job for these young lads I'm working with. So that's how I got introduced to the network. And while I was a part of the network, I realized there's a massive issue in this industry, and that is sourcing quality properties for social housing purposes, especially for new providers and providers that don't want to purchase properties. They end up having to look on the open market to try and find a willing landlord that will allow them to make all these changes to meet regulatory requirements for Ofsted or the CQC, convince them of social housing and all the things that come with it. And that is quite a difficult task if you're not an effective communicator. So I found a way to leverage my skills and my experience in the care sector to try and deliver a solution that is useful to providers all over the UK. And from there, my semi-independent living dreams were destroyed, and I became a deal sourcer, and I began my company at Care Property Group. So today, my intention is to give you guys a little bit of a background of who I am, what I do, but also leave you with some tips and tricks on how to source properties for yourself, or for your care business, or maybe for someone else. Maybe you'll sell on a deal. Yeah. Whatever you want to do with this info, well done for being there, because yeah, I'm giving it out for free today. So yeah, what do? We are a specialist property sourcing agency, which essentially means we look into who you are, what you do, who your regulator is, maybe the type of service user you're housing, what are their particular needs, and what are the options that are currently available on the market. Are you looking to lease? Are you looking to purchase? Whatever it is, we serve as that bridge into the property market to help them find you the property that you're looking for. That's within your means as well. So we aim to get a full description of exactly what your limitations are from top to bottom, and then we introduce you to the relevant stakeholders on the other end of that deal in the property market. So yeah, we start off, we source, we assess, and then the matching process is quite lengthy. The buying process usually is anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. So yeah, it is quite a lengthy process, but at the end of the day, the leases run for 3 to 5 years. So yeah, it's best to do your due diligence and explore all your options before committing to a property. So yeah, like I mentioned, market research. How do we conduct market research? Of course, you could go to your listing sites, you could go to Zoopla, Rightmove, but those places are very saturated. So you can employ some other tips and tricks that you could use to find landlords. And one of those ways is to go on the land registry. It does cost a little bit of money, but it's an effective way to try and narrow down who the landlord is in a particular locality or area. That way you can get their details or maybe their lender, and you can contact them. But also you could use architects. I work with quite a lot of architects who would inform you about who the landlord of a particular property is. If you're trying to take it on board, they get a referral fee from yourself and the landlord. So don't neglect architects. They're very connected. Understanding landlords. So yeah, once you've managed to find yourself a landlord, you need to really get your value proposition down. What is it you're offering? What benefits do you come with? And what is it that will entice them to lease their property to you? Maybe you're the first social housing provider. So if you're the first social housing provider this landlord has met, then it's an even more difficult position you're in, because now they're walking into the unknown. So do definitely, get your value proposition down. Make sure they're aware of everything that they're signing up for, which includes the non-structural changes to meet the regulator standards. That's something you always need to be aware of. But not only that, like Stanford mentioned, do they have their lender's permission to go into this sector? You need to qualify that lead before you decide to even go in for a viewing. So do they have their lender's permission? Tick. Do they have the right insurance, or can they get the right insurance? And how much extra is that going to cost, if it's going to cost more, and how will that affect the rental rate? That needs to also be considered, because that might change that property from being an option to a non-starter. And then also, is the area of the property unsuitable? The landlord might be willing, after a few conversations and having the value proposition brought to them, but is the area suitable? Is it in a close? You can expect incidents in the healthcare sector, so you do want multiple entry points for police, for ambulances, emergency services, so definitely do avoid closes and groves and those sorts of things. But also, when you're speaking to landlords, do not give too much to them. Don't try to compensate to try and get the deal over the line. Do give yourself some protections. Do understand that you do bring value to the table. So for you guys to mention during your conversations: guaranteed rent, long-term tenancies. I mean, the guaranteed rent term is just to suggest that it's a government-backed scheme. It's a local authority contract, so that once you have service users in the property, you can technically claim you're offering guaranteed rent. But of course, nothing's guaranteed. But there are long-term tenancies which local authorities expect social workers want to see when they are assigning a service user over to you, because they want to know that they have a long-term home and they're not being moved around. Some of the cons: wear and tear. You don't want to mention the cons, but you just keep them in your back pocket so that you can deal with them as they come along. Wear and tear. You need to have a good team of contractors that could come in and fix problems as soon as they arise. It's one of your responsibilities as part of the lease agreement. You don't have the same protections as an AST, which means you could be asked to vacate within 14 days of breaking the lease agreement, and breaking that lease agreement includes not taking care of the upkeep of the property. Regulatory requirements, again, is for you to make sure you take care of. You gain the permissions from the landlord. Hey, I need to install fire doors. I need to install interconnected fire alarm or smoke alarms and do all these other things. Get that down into the contract, because, yeah, sometimes they might change their mind. Everything needs to be on paper. Oh yes, some statistics here. When reaching out, of course, there is an infinite number of estate agents. I mean, currently we've got about 55,000 estate agents nationwide, so you are going to run into a lot of no's when first finding a property or sourcing a property, but eventually you'll find the right people and you'll build a relationship with them. So it is going to take a lot of effort, a lot of energy, but you might as well get used to it, because it's an essential part of this industry. Yeah, and the number of social renters in the UK, you might not be able to see it here, but about 4 million properties in the UK are being used for social housing, which is about 15.5% of all households are social housing. So yeah, that number is increasing, but the supply hasn't increased in a very long time. So even though there's plenty of properties out there, lots of landlords, the supply of social properties is actually decreasing, and no new properties are being built. So it does require a bit of extra effort to build those relationships, find those people that have got the properties that you need, so that you can get those deals over the line for yourself or for other businesses. So yeah, that's everything. I hope I gave you some gems there. But if you do want to get in touch or want us to take care of the sourcing for you, we do have a nationwide network of landlords and estate agents we've currently built a relationship with. And yeah, we can effectively deliver in quite a short time. Thank you.